Hello from Finland and welcome to Hello from Finland. Let me start this video with a joke, or as they used to be called in the Soviet Union, an anecdote. I think it's the same, a joke and an anecdote. So, a Jewish guy dials phone number and asks, "Is this the KGB?" "Yes, this is the KGB." "Is it true that we, Jews, sold out Mother Russia?" "Yes, it's true. You did it." And the man asks, "Where and when could I collect my share?" How do you like this one? I'll tell you another one at the end of this video. And this video is going to be about corruption in the USSR. And this one is about corruption in restaurants and cafes in Leningrad. So, as I told you in one of my previous videos, I started working, my first job was as a taxi driver in a state-owned taxi company. And a good friend of mine, back then my best friend Alexei, he had worked about 6 months as a taxi driver, and then he decided to switch to the job of a waiter in the in-tourist system. In-tourist system was a system that organized foreign tourism in the USSR. So his first job as a waiter was in Hotel Europe in Leningrad. And he started working there, as far as I can remember, in the year 1977. And he told me all about his personal experience. So there was about 20 or 25 waiters on the shift, because it was a huge hotel, a big hotel, and a big restaurant. And their boss was, his profession, his job was the head waiter, but in Russian, this job is called in kind of a French manner, maître d'hôtel. So this head waiter and maître d'hôtel, at the end of every shift, that is about 1:00 a.m., he received a bribe for every single waiter working on a shift. It was 25 rubles. Multiply it by 20 or 25 waiters, and this should happen every shift. So, why? Because the profession of waiter in a Soviet restaurant was a very profitable one. For example, a factory worker, his wages were about 150 rubles a month. And a waiter in a good restaurant could make about 300 to 500 rubles a shift. Do you feel the difference? How did waiters make money in Soviet restaurants? It is a very interesting thing. Soviet restaurants and cafes, it was something. Believe me, it was unlike cafes and restaurants somewhere in Berlin, New York, Paris, or Vienna. So, in Leningrad, back then, at the end of 70s and in the 80s, it was like this. You come to a restaurant door, and there is a small line of people waiting their opportunity to get inside. So, and there is a doorman. And the doorman announces to you, there are no free tables. I'm sorry. So you give him 3 to 5, sometimes 10 rubles, depending on the rating and quality of the restaurant. And he calls a waiter to the door. Then you say to the waiter, we are 3 persons. Can you give us an opportunity to eat and drink? The waiter says, 25 rubles. So you give it's from 10 to 25, depending on the restaurant. So you give him his entrance fee, and he accompanies you to a free table. Then he will, at the end of your meal, of your evening at the restaurant, he will definitely shortchange you. So you see, his first way of income is the entrance fee. Once you pay to the doorman, then you pay to the waiter. Then he shortchanges you, and yet something else that what they did. In every restaurant there was a job, a position called in Russian babka, in English old bitch. This old bitch could be like 30 or 40 years old, and her function was to stamp bottles of alcohol, vodka, wine, and beer. She had a blue kind of blueprint stamp, restaurant name so and so, and she stamped all the bottles of alcohol in restaurant. Every waiter brought his own alcohol, from 5 to 10 bottles with him, and he paid 2 rubles to the babka, to the old bitch, and he stamped his bottles, and so he sold his own alcohol at restaurant prices with added value. So I guess I listed 3 ways of income, additional income of a waiter. So it's entrance fee, shortchanging, and selling his own alcohol. And at the end of shift, they all paid the head waiter 25 rubles. At least it was the amount of money they paid in Hotel Europe. And the head waiter, he could not leave all that money for himself. You know, he had to share. So he paid someone. He paid his boss, and his boss was his job was called the director of the Trust of Cafes and Restaurants of Leningrad. And this director, he received bribes, his corruption money from all head waiters of all restaurants that were part of this trust. And there were several trusts of cafes and restaurants in Leningrad. I don't know how many, probably from 5 to 12, something like that. It doesn't matter how many. Now yet another joke that I promised at the beginning of this video. The Soviet Union, a man writes a letter to God. Dear God, my life is so miserable. Please send me 100 rubles to ease my suffering. 3 days later, he receives 50 rubles in an envelope and a note. Here's 50 rubles for you. But never again you write letters like this, signed KGB. The man grabs a pen and writes another letter. Dear God, thank you so much. I received the money. If you decide to help me again, please don't send it through the KGB. They rip off 50%. The average wages and salaries of blue-collar and white-collar workers in the Soviet Union were about from 100 to 150, 180 rubles a month. But there were special jobs that provided you a much better income. I'll tell about it all in my next video about corruption. And thank you so much for watching this video. Please write your comments, complimentary comments, nasty comments, any comments, and vote for this video with your likes and dislikes. And thank you so much for watching. Hope to see you here again, and hello from Finland. Bye bye.